Fleet Admiral Akainu, Kuma, and Bonnie jump into fighting action as the epic fight between Luffy and Kizaru also takes place in this insane chapter. That's right, we got Gear 5 Luffy versus a shockingly powerful Kizaru as we're about to get into, so make sure to stay tuned for that, not to mention some crazy long-running One Piece mystery reveals. Chill the parking with it and smash that like button if you enjoy One Piece videos like this one and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Nakama by subscribing. You can help us hit our insane goal of 2 million subscribers here on YouTube by just clicking that one button. Thank you if you did, and now without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. Chapter 1092 is called The Tyrant Attacking the Holy Land, obviously referencing Kuma, as we'll get into now. So the chapter starts, as mentioned, with Kuma reaching Marijoa. Some guards appear to stop him, but to no avail, since fodder can't really stop Kuma. As expected. He uses Ursa's shock to wipe them out, and some celestial dragons actually get injured too. Obviously, this does not make the world government look good. And then, hype limiters get broken when who but Akainu, aka Fleet Admiral Sakazuki, appears. Wow, big and unexpected delivery by Oda in this chapter where we actually get Akainu about to fight as well, when we were already so excited to see Admiral Kizaru about to fight Luffy. Obviously, my money in this situation is always going to be on Akainu versus Kuma, and I don't think this fight would be especially long, but crazy that we'll see the Fleet Admiral in action so unexpectedly. He's definitely one of the top 5 guys you want to see in action in this show. Akainu asks Kuma, what is he doing here? He thinks to himself, what would a doll with no consciousness like Kuma be doing in the holy land of Marijoa? Then, as mentioned, Akainu actually starts to fight against Kuma. We're told by the spoilers that Akainu melts part of Kuma's face and possibly Kuma's leg too with Meigo, aka the attack Hellhound. This was actually the insanely overpowered move that also took out a large portion of Whitebeard's head, like it was butter. A truly impressive feat against the one called the strongest man in the world and the one closest to One Piece. So it's not surprising that it can do the same to Kuma. We're clearly seeing a pattern here, and I guess Akainu just likes going for the face. Interestingly enough, Kuma doesn't really fight back or defend. He just runs away and then disappears. So this makes sense. I think we all know if it was a head-to-head to the death, Kuma would have lost. So this was about the best Kuma's body could do in this situation. But either way, we got Oda hyping up Akainu again here, reminding us of his power. Luckily, Kaido's final flaming dragon form showed us that Luffy can now deal with Akainu's deadly magma without actually physically touching him. So I think even this matchup for Luffy wouldn't be impossible for him to handle at this point. But before we jump to Luffy and the admiral he's actually fighting now, we get celestial dragons shouting at Akainu for failing to capture Kuma. It's also noted that Marijoa's food reserves are at a minimum too. We don't get into spoilers how Akainu reacts to this, and maybe we don't see it in the chapter, but I can imagine that he's not too happy with these entitled and way weaker than him celestial dragons. It's moments like this where you can really see why Garp refused to get promoted if it meant having to obey these dudes and having to kowtow to them. Oda's done a good job of making these entitled celestial dragons hateable, but they're quickly gonna get shocked by how hard even their lives can get if they don't get more food supplies soon. Before the Luffy and Kizaru climax, we also get a flashback that takes place after Akainu captured Bonnie 2 years ago, the continuation of the scene from way back in chapter 595. Cool how Oda brought it back around after so long. If you'll remember, it was when Blackbeard left her to run away from Akainu, and then Akainu came face to face with a tied up Bonnie and she said, "You'll pay for this." As makes sense now, they were talking about her dad, Kuma. And Akainu told her that her dad willingly underwent his modifications. Either way, I think she'd rather be in his hands than Blackbeard's, even if she was mad with him like she was with Vegapunk. And now we get the most hype part of the chapter, and Luffy is just not giving Kizaru the respect he deserves here, at least not yet, and he will pay for it. We see Kizaru versus Luffy Gear 4 Snake Man, not even Gear 5. I mean, come on, bro. If you fought Lucci in that mode, Kizaru definitely deserves it from the get-go. We are told that they fight during several panels of the chapter, and if the panels come in before the video is published, we'll show those here too. But it's definitely very hyped that we get multiple panels of such an epic anticipated matchup. We're told Kizaru has light on both of his hands and blocks all of Luffy's attacks with his arms, and it seems like both are using armament haki, which makes sense. They don't use any new attacks at this point though, sort of just feeling each other out from the looks of it. But then Kizaru decides to shake things up big time. Kizaru flies very far away from Egghead Island to charge his next attack. He says speed is power, which makes sense. The more speed you're hit with, the more force you'll feel. Kizaru flies back to Egghead, really utilizing his speed of light powers, and kicks Snake Man Luffy with full force. Luffy, as we could have expected, gets punished for using Gear 4 against Kizaru. He's blown through Vega Force 1, and in the process, the robot is completely destroyed. Frankie, by the way, is still at the robot, we're told. We can see 2 flashback panels of Vegapunk showing Vega Force 1 to Kizaru, so this arc, as I mentioned before, is really Kizaru focused in many ways. He keeps getting flashbacks, and we are focusing on his internal struggles of fighting these people who he knew from way back when, from Vegapunk to Sentomaru to you're about to see who else soon. As I've been saying, we need to get either him reaching a breaking point this arc, or at least a justification for why he's such an obedient character, completely following his orders, no matter who he's ordered to take down, shared backstory and connection or not. Luckily, despite this devastating attack, the Thousand Sunny ends up being okay because it lands on island clouds. And now, as I teased moments ago, another character from Kizaru's past gets in his way. This time, it is Bonnie who attacks Kizaru. Kizaru can't help but remark, "You've grown so much, don't force me to hurt too many people I know during this mission." See, this stuff is still on his mind, and he can't help repeating his wish to not hurt those he knows. But at the end of the day, though we respect Bonnie for trying, we know she is not going to be the one to take down this light beast, and he kicks her and she hits Egghead's barrier. Kizaru then warps to the middle of the control room in the Labo phase right next to Vegapunk. This doesn't look good right now. Without the Elder, Kizaru alone seems to be dangerously close to completing the mission. However, in the last epic double page of the chapter, giant Gear 5 Luffy appears from above, and he's visible since the control room ceiling was already destroyed. And furthermore, he grabs Kizaru with his giant hand. Fun to see Kizaru being David rather than Goliath for a change. Vegapunk, Nami, Usopp, Atlas, and Edison are shocked and their eyeballs pop out of their faces, as we're used to now when we see Gear 5, but Kizaru has a normal face. Now this could be just him in control of himself and not being as surprised, or it could be hyping up his own abilities. If you'll remember, Law could overcome Doc Q's abilities with his own haki. So this could be a sign that Kizaru is potentially skilled enough in haki to be able to counteract the effects that Luffy's awakened tunifying fruit would have on him. That would be big praise because even Kaido was clearly affected by the Toon Force. Either way, if Luffy could take down Kaido, then I'm sure he won't lose to Kizaru here. He'll either win or successfully escape, and I'm hoping he does the former before he does the latter. At the end of the chapter, we get another big reveal. The legendary ancient robot, aka the Iron Giant that was originally created 900 years ago, around the time of the Void Century, and then who attacked Marijoa 200 years ago before running out of energy. Yes, that robot that even puzzled Vegapunk with its mysterious ancient power source wakes up. We finally get to find out its actual power source. Its eyes power up after hearing Nika's heartbeat. So somehow Nika, or Joy Boy, and now Luffy is the power source for these robots, specifically the heartbeat that even Zunesha seemed to recognize, the drums of liberation. This could definitely be a game changer, and I can't wait to see what this robot will do now that it is functioning again. What's the first thing that it'll want to do? Will it just pull a Kuma and try to attack Marijoa again? Or, as would make sense to me, will the one who woke it up, Luffy in this case, be able to control it or at least get assistance from it? Luckily, we won't have to wait long to find out, since there is no break next week, people, so we'll find out where these insane cliffhangers go soon enough. So if you're interested in Luffy's insane Mythical Zone powers that we keep learning more about, and that of other Mythical Zone users, then you won't want to miss my all 12 Mythical Zones explained in ranked video, link on screen right now. Like and subscribe to help us reach that insane goal of 2 million subscribers, and I'll see you in the next one.